Right, so I'm going to show you how to use Excel to simulate a savings account. Okay, this is something you're going to need for next term. So let's start putting it together now. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to have to do is open up Excel. Find yourself a blank Excel page. All right, so it's looking like that. Okay, so now, no doubt, as this works along, you're going to have to be pausing this just so you can get a full picture of what's happening. Okay, so that's your Excel page. All right, so we have something like this. We got you're going to start an account off with a certain amount. The bank is going to offer you a certain amount of interest, but then each payday or each pay week, you're going to basically transfer a certain amount into it. Okay, so let's start off. Actually, we're going to call this year one. Okay, we're going to track this for 4 years, pretending you have 4 years of an apprenticeship. Let's see what would happen across 4 years of an apprenticeship. So I've got B3 there. Follow along with me. B3, I said year one. Okay, so now we want to know, what are we going to start this account off with? So, sorry, just in the next one there, B4. Okay, I'm just going to go starting amount equals. Okay, so how much am I going to start this account off with? But then what's my weekly deposit going to be? Okay, so a little bit each week out of your pay can go into it, but then the bank is going to offer me an interest rate. Okay, so now in column D, I've got these 3 boxes here, and I can put some numbers in. So let's say, just for argument's sake, you've saved up $500 and you're going to start the account off with that. You then think, okay, it's the first year, you're not loaded with money, but let's say you can figure, oh yeah, I'm going to put $40 in a week. So every payday, you set it up in your banking app on your phone to transfer $40 across to this. Let's say the bank gives you, I don't know, 1.3%. Okay, now just next to that there, so if you've got 500, you've got 40, and you've got 1.3. Just next to it, just put in percent P dot A, percent per annum. All right, so that's our starting stuff there. Now, you're going to run this for every week in a year. All right, so let's see how I do that. Let's down here. So what have I got there? B8. Okay, I'm going to type in week. Okay, so I want to simulate what's going on with this bank account across 52 weeks, because there's 52 weeks in a year. So I go 1, 2, 3. Now just stop there. You don't have to actually type all the way to 52. Instead, if you just highlight those, move, so you got the chunky cursor there, move the cursor to it's not the chunky cursor, and then drag. Okay, so I've got 8. Do that again. You've got to highlight more than one of them. Okay, up to 15. 26, it's got to be that little cursor there. 38. Okay, so I've got 52 weeks. Oh, hang on. I've just messed up there a bit. I'm just going to delete those. All right, so I've got 1 through to 52. All right, so that's my weeks. All right, so now, how are we going to calculate the bank interest? Well, here's an old formula that you will have seen at some point. Interest is principal times rate times time divided by 100. That's a simple interest formula. All right, so let's get rid of that. Now we're going to do that here. So we're going to calculate how much interest the bank offers on a weekly basis. So I'm going to go, I've got a principal, which is how much is in the account. R, which is the interest rate, and T, which is the time. All right, so let's pick that. All right, so, oh, by the way, I'm going to just center everything because that's annoying me. There we go. All right. Okay, so P is how much is in the account. Now, if you just go 500, that's fantastic, but I want it to read what's in that box. So if I change this box, it's going to change with it. Okay, so this is what you do. You go equals, and then just click on the 500, and it says D4. That's what you want. Okay, go enter. All right. Rate. Well, I want it to read that 1.3. So enter, bang, 1.3. Now, time. Time is 1 week, but see how the interest rate is percentage per annum? I need to divide it by 52. Okay, so I need to have 1/52 of a year because that's what a week is. So I go equals 1/52. That's 1 divided by 52. Enter. All right, cool. So that's my principal, that's my rate, and that's how long this little section of time is running for. Okay, now I can calculate the interest. So I go capital I for interest. All right, so you might need to pause it and catch up with me there. Once you have caught up with me, this is what you do. You've got to put the formula for simple interest. So I start off with equals. So it is P times R times T. So it's that one. And times is shift 8, the little star sign. Times R times T. But the formula was divide by 100. So divide 100, enter. All right, so what that said is for the first week, if I put $500 into this account, in 1 week, I'm going to get the grand total of about 12.5 cents interest. Awesome. Okay. Now, at the very end, though, we want to know what is in this account at the end of the week, and that is called the balance. Okay, so what's happening? We've put this in, we've started the account with that. The bank gives us that much interest, but we are depositing on a weekly basis $40. So this is what we do. What is it? We start off with equals, and then we've got the P plus the interest. But we're also adding that $40. All right, so at the end of the week, like you start the account off with $500. At the end of the week, you've got $540 and about 13 cents. All right, now, here is, that's fine for the first week, but if we just copy this down, I mean, that's the beauty of Excel. We're going to do a lot of copying here to fill all of this in. But if we do copy it, it's going to go a bit wild because we are telling it to look at certain points, certain boxes, and if we copy it down, it's going to shift where it's looking. So we need to tell Excel to always go back to certain boxes. So for instance, if we're looking at the rate here, it's saying go to D6. If I copy that down, it'll look at D7, and there's nothing in D7. So I need to tell it to always, no matter where I copy this, to always go back to D6 for the interest rate. So this is what we do. You click on that, and see you've got the formula bar up here. You go up to the formula bar. You need to put a $sign in front of the D, and then a $sign in front of the 6, and then enter. All right, now that is Excel speak for always go back to D6, no matter where this moves to. Okay, that's fine. And then the balance, we're going to do the same thing with the balance because we always want to be adding, what is that, D5. We always want to be adding D5. Even when we copy this down, we want it to always go back to that one there. So we go up here, so we got C9 plus F9, that's fine. But this one here, the D5, just the D5, I want the $signs in there as well. So I go $, Okay. Oop, come back. Right. Okay. So that hasn't changed it, but it's what it has changed is the fact that when I copy this, it'll always look back at that. Okay, so what's happening in the second week? Well, the amount that this account starts with again in the second week is that balance at the end of the first week, isn't it? So in this box here, we want it to read that. Okay, so I'm going to go equals that. Enter. All right, so it's immediately reading G9, so it'll just do that there. All right, now that is all the heavy lifting done with that one. What you're going to do now is highlight those ones, copy directly below. All right, now let's just check. Yep, that one's all good. That one's still 1 week. And look at this, this one is still looking back at D6, which is what we want it to do. This one here is adding up row 10, so the P, it's adding up the P and the interest, which is in F, but it's still going back to D5 to the weekly deposit. Sweet. Okay, so we've got all the pieces in line. That's the heavy lifting done. Now we just highlight that row, go copy, and all the way down to week 52. Paste. All right. So what's happening there? At the end of the year, you should have about $2,600 in that account. Now, what we're just going to do though, I reckon we need to actually give this just 2 decimal places. So, because there's money, let's deal with it with 2 decimal places. So highlight all of that. Go up here. Click on this little dot toggle here, and it just changes the decimal places. There we go. So I've got, yep, that's all good. It's just averaged out or rounded out to 2 decimal places, and that suits me. Okay, so it's about 2,600 at the end of the year. All right, that is the first year of this. Now, the beauty of this situation is because we've used these dollar signs, these absolute cell references, we can now play around with this. What if I saved up $600 to start it with? Everything automatically changes. What if the bank actually offers us 1.4%? Everything automatically changes. What if I can put aside $50 a week, not just 40? Everything automatically changes. I don't have to go and redo anything. It will just automatically do it because these 3 here are the keys. Everything's referring back to them, and all I've got to do is change those, and everything will automatically change. Just checking that things are all right. So if we look here in week 5, the principal is actually the same as what is at the end of week 4. So that's all working really well. All right, this is part 1. By the end of part 1, you should have the first year of this savings account all done on a weekly basis. Cool.